My name is Alicia Johnson, and this is my vlog presentation on public accountability. One of the quotes that stuck out to me in our reading for Chapter 6 was the saying that public discourse ethics requires public accountability. And I think that's so very true because you have to provide the guidelines that outline the process of decision making in the discourse environment that people are going to take part in. The reading notes that public accountability involves three communicative commitments. First, a diversity of ideas. There has to be a robust amount of thought and backgrounds and opinions being put into place so that you can formulate an environment that is all inclusive and you're having new experiences and opinions being brought before you. Secondly, it's the engagement of public decision making. Everyone that is participating needs to know that they are able and not necessarily obligated, but encouraged to make choices, to act on their thoughts, to say what they feel, what they're thinking based off of their own experiences, and participate in the decision-making process. Thirdly, it says that you need a public account for continuing a communicative practice or changing that practice. There has to be some type of resolution. So it's one thing to just spit out a bunch of ideas and hear what everyone has to say and their own interpretations, but there needs to be some action item behind it. There needs to be some type of resolution that outlines what we're going to do from here. What is the thought process moving forward? What is it that we're going to hold as the public opinion? Embedded in the presentation, you'll now see a link to The Dangerous Minds, a 1995 film exhibiting a urban classroom setting with a new teacher and how the different backgrounds come together to make a better environment and experience for everyone who's participating. I've specifically used the scene where the teacher is identifying that every person, including those students who think that they are without, has a choice in what they do in life. And I really think it's a great representation of public accountability and how she's making them aware of what that means, and especially in terms of their own lives. How does this public accountability impart on their decisions and their experiences? So feel free to take a moment and watch this very brief clip, and then we'll take a short walk through once it's completed. You've watched the clip, I'd like to take a moment and just walk through my thought process and why I chose this clip to represent public accountability for Chapter 6. As you can see, it starts off in the classroom setting with a new teacher in a very urban environment with students who don't particularly want her there. They don't want to be there themselves, and currently are in the middle of a conflict where the students feel that they don't have a voice and they don't have a say in what's going on, and the teacher is letting them know that's exactly the opposite of the situation. I feel as though she was trying to facilitate an environment of public accountability. She was trying to let those students know that they are representing a very diverse backgrounds. One of the students even commented, "You don't know where we've been, you don't know what we've gone through." And the teacher says, that's what makes it so unique. Your background is what brings you here. The choices that you make help you shape yourself into the person that you are. So it's very clear to see that there's a diverse opinion across the room. You see some students who want to participate, some students who are shying away from the situation, the teacher who's coming from a very educated background into an urban setting, and you really get to see the different dynamics of how these different backgrounds create a little social setting for public accountability. I definitely think that this scene exhibits the three commitments. Like I said, she has the diversity of ideas in place, and the engagement of public decision making. She's telling her students that every single day they make choices, and those choices are their right. It is their accountability. It is their obligation. You can either choose to not get on the bus and participate in illegal activities and digress, or you can make the choice to get on the bus, come to class, work hard, and learn something. And even when you get to school, you can choose to stay there. You can choose to leave. You can choose to participate. You can choose not to. And the more she gets into this, the more you see each of the students coming out of their shells. And you have one of the young gentlemen coming forward saying his opinion about what she said. Another lady in the class, or young lady, I should say, in the class, says that she kind of agrees with him, but not all the way, and then provides reasoning behind her thought process. And then the different classmates begin engaging in the conversation and starting to push it one way or another. And lastly, there's definitely a resolution. She tells the students that you can either get in this and be a part of this class or you can leave. But either way, we're moving forward. We're coming up with some resolutions. This is how we're going to handle it. There's definitely a guideline set in place about what is to be expected moving forward based off of the class participation in that conversation. I think that once the students realized they were in a safe space to express themselves, they began to offer their own interpretations and opinions, and they found that even in themselves, they didn't all think the same way. They didn't all behave the same way or feel the same way about what she was saying or even the actions that transpired before she got there. So I think it was a very touching scene and insightful scene into how public accountability is found in even the youngest of generations and how you just have to be aware of it. I have watched this movie a million times and it's one of my favorites, but I had never thought about it in the terms of public accountability or communication theory and ethics. She really brought out a guideline and told these kids that it's their ethical duty to have these conversations and to participate with one another, to expound upon their thoughts and opinions based off of past literature and, present day actions and life experiences. So I really think this was an awesome clip to use to exhibit the topic of my vlog.